Hey guys, this is what your thing is going to look like after this tutorial. If it doesn't, then you're doing something wrong and you shouldn't be in game design at all. No, I'm just kidding. But so basically, this is our surveillance guy. Once you collide with this line, it triggers something. You can make it into shooting. I'll show you how to do that in another video. But our bottom line is I just want to show you guys how to draw this line, how it changes with surveillance, and how to make it trigger something. So you can see it changes to a different image or sprite, whatever. Thanks. Get on to the video, and it's going to be a long one, so buckle up your seatbelts. Okay. Hey guys, today we're going to do some D&D. Hold up. Dad. If you're cursing in the background, don't sue me, please. I'm a little kid. Okay, so we made our sprites here, which is not really important. So we're just gonna make our first object. So we're gonna call it P for O player. We're gonna give it the red block sprite. We're just gonna give it basic movement. So in D&D, actually, you just have key down. So you don't even need to code for like if key press or something. This makes it actually a lot easier. So if key down left, so we're just gonna say you need to make it relative, and we're just gonna say -5 because you want it to be -5 from its x every frame. So now we're gonna do key down right, and the same thing except it's gonna be 5 because positive values always go to the right. Key down up. Now the y variable is actually inverse. The y's are inverse, so actually going up would be negative and going down would be positive. So if we want to go up, then we're going to have -5 relative. You want to make sure it's relative. Otherwise, you have to put y -5, which doesn't matter. Okay, that's just a little more explaining, but it's important for you to know, because if you don't, then you're a gold rock. Okay, so then we're going to do one more, and we're going to make it 5, since, like I told you, positive is down, negative is up. So that's our basic collision, and here we have our guy. Let's see him go. Oh, whoa. Okay, so he's making his moving. That's important. Okay, so giggity giggity goo. Okay, all right. We're going to create our other object, OS, or just O surveillance. I'd name these longer if I was actually making a game, but this is just a tutorial. Doesn't really matter too much. We're going to make 2 variables. I'll show you what they do later. So one is going to be change. We're going to leave that at 0. And we're going to have yeet. Now yeet, you can make a better variable so you could actually know what you're talking about. But I'm just putting it here. I'll tell you what these do. Now we want to draw the line, so we're just going to go into a draw event. And we're going to just draw self. This is important because you want to draw your own sprite before you draw anything else, unless you don't. It's up to you. We'll put relative because this is D&D, you could do. This is just like saying X and Y, your coordinates. Now, we want to say X -4, in this one, no relative. We get X -800, because we want to make sure that this does, sorry. We want to make sure that, sorry. Okay. So we want to make sure that this guy, sorry, let's practice. And we want to make sure that the surveillance line, it stays in the same X. So X2 minus X1 is always going to be 800. The distance between X2 and X1 is always going to be 800. That's the most important thing. It could go up and down, but the distance from the x coordinates is always going to be 800. So we're just going to get a consistent value. Now, this is what's going to be not consistent. It's going to be y plus change. So we have 2 coordinates right now, but this y coordinate's always changing. So if we could change this change variable, it would go like this, right? Because we could add a plus or minus 1 every single frame, you know, so whatever. Now I'm gonna actually show you what this is actually for and how to change it. So we're gonna have our year variables. So we're gonna say if yeet is true, then we're gonna say change. We're going to say plus 1. So basically, if yeet is true, which we set it to be true, it's going to go down. It's going to start to go down. And then we're going to put else. So if it's not true, then we're going to say change is going to go up. The change variable is going to go up. Come on, what's going on? There we go. So the change is going to go up, so that would actually be -1. So hopefully these else values have actually work, because if it doesn't, we can always change it back to yeet is false or not true. I just want to try it out so you could guys, because I know you guys are going to start with D&D in the first semester, and it's really important just to understand the basics. So now we're going to set up our big equation thing, sort of, not really equate. So now we're going to say if change is greater than or equal to 200. So basically we're saying is once this is plus 200, so once this goes 200 below the y coordinate of the other guy, then we're going to say this variable yeet is going to be false. Yeet is going to be false. So now it's going to change into this event, which is going to be going up. Change is going to become negative, which means the y coordinate of the line is actually, y coordinate of the coordinate is going to the y position of the coordinate is going to change, which means it's going to go up. The line's going to look like it's going up. So then we also need to set a condition for this, which means if change is less than or equal to -200, then we're going to say yeet equals true. True. So what we want to do is make sure we could actually see the line. I think it's going to be what do you call, white for default, but I always love this red line. I don't know why, I can't get enough of it. So let's continue. So it should work. If it doesn't, then it's not my fault, man. You're the one watching it. So as you can see, this x value is always staying 800 away from this, but change is affecting the y coordinate. So now change is, yeet is true, which means read is false right now, so it means change is negative. And then now it's true, so it's adding positive values to the y, meaning the thing is going down. Now, what you wanted to say is like, hey, man, ziggity zack, what happens if I want it to shoot when I want, it to touch that red line? Well, this is the thing. I'm not going to teach you how to shoot right now, because first of all, it's pretty late and I'm tired, and second of all, there'll be another tutorial if Mr. Magoulian wants me to do one, or if I have time, I'm just going to do it anyways. So hopefully I can make a playlist to how to do this stuff, but we're going to just show that this collision actually works with the line. So we're just going to make it change this little image, as you can see right there, right? Two completely different images. Okay, so we're going to go into this guy and we're going to say if collision line. So collision lines are here, collision shape. I didn't realize this until now, but you could do this. when I just started, I never realized you could actually do it. So we're going to say if the collision with this guy, whatever, with the line, now we're going to use a regular line that we did in the step event because you don't want it to change, right? Exactly. That's the point. Now we're going to say y plus change. We don't want it to change. We don't want this to be different because we want this to be the exact same line as the one it looks in the drop in. So the player gets a cue. They're like, oh shoot, if I touch the line that I see, then, which this will actually initiate some event. Let me see. Set sprite, no. Set instance color. Come on, man. How do you change a sprite? Maybe this, and let's go frame 1. There we go. Okay, and we'll just say speed is 0. I didn't tell you guys what this does. Draw basically draws whatever you want. Draw self, you need to make sure that this is here because you want him to draw your actual object unless you don't. Step events happen every frame of the game, which means every 60 frames. So change in our objects, this -1, it means based on how many frames per second this game is at, which is 60, means this thing would be at plus 60 in 1 second. Create events is just when you create variables. You usually create variables in here. If you don't, then sucks for you, man. I don't know what you're doing with GameMaker. So we want to make sure this works, and if it doesn't, then what could you do? Oh, he's changing. But what happens if you say, I don't want it to be like that, you know? I don't want him to stay like that forever. You know, if he's not touching, I don't want him to shoot. If the guy's not touching, because we're just saying if this collision happens, then this is just going to happen, and it's going to stay like that. But if we just say else, which means if this isn't happening, then we could just copy, paste. And I don't like actually else events because they're actually messing really bad. Okay. I'm going to go to 0 and yeah, these are really messing with me. Else events are too short basically. So yeah. So whoa. Oh, but when we're away, no, this sprite changes back. Now you could do this with shooting, but I'll show you how to do that later if you really want to. Guys, if you like this video, then thanks, man. I'll work hard on this. I actually spent some time figuring out how to do this in D&D, because I know how to do this in GML, but D&D's fun. You're just making your game. I hope you guys love game making as much as I do, because I love it when my friends play the games. They have fun. They get angry. They're like, oh, man, this game is so hard. But guys, this will help your game look a bit better. Once you have a basic game of movement, so on. You can make this like into a platformer game if you really want to. Don't use physics in your game. It actually would screw up your game. Okay. So besides this knowledge, I hope you enjoy this, and I hope to continue the series. Please leave a dislike, and yee. Yeah, sorry for the long ass video. No cursing allowed, but I just did. Sort of. Anyway,